Rather than talking about politics, and I certainly could talk about politics and mental health and neurodivergence and creativity today, I'm going to focus on specifically creativity and really tease out each of the stuff that I talked about in the previous monologue on harsh truths that neurodivergents need to hear. That is basically an adaptation off of Jason Pargan's Cracked column. Uh, these 6 harsh truths that'll make you a better person. The first one is specifically the world only cares about what it can get from you. And, I know there are a lot of neurodivergents out there who really believe that, the world has exploited us, treated us terribly, abused us, uh, not seen us, just sort of wishes we would go away, and it goes right to ABA therapy to try and get us to be neurotypical, to medication in the form of all sorts of stuff to manage autism and ADHD and dyslexia and bipolar disorder, and it sort of goes to the belief that honestly all of that stuff does more harm than good. And what we need is not so much uh, a psychology or a pharmaceutical to fix us, but really a philosophy of being in the world. And that's what this uh, Substack podcast is about, is developing that philosophy, sort of workshopping it and seeing whether it even works. Uh, this is what I think works for me. Does it work all that well? I'll let you know when I'm 80. uh, so let's talk about what the world only cares about, what it can get from you and the world can get from us as neurodivergents. Uh, if anything, we're really great at structured thinking, and depending on the environment, we can get way out of the box to solve a problem. That's sort of our ADHD traits. So what I think is hard for me, maybe it's this way for you all, is that coming to the realization that it's not so much selfishness, but being useful. That's what I'm trying to do here. Is being useful. Is being useful to someone, anyone. Uh, you know, an act of service to the neurodivergent population. Because honestly, all I hear about, what I hear from a lot of the neurodivergent discourse online is a whole lot of victim thinking. And I've written about this in the past, and I'll probably posted here, is about victim thinking in neurodivergent discourses. And basically what that means is a lot of blaming, making excuses, accusing, complaining about the way the world is, and saying the world needs to change and accommodate me. The world's not going to do that. The world's not going to do that unless you make it clear that you can be of service to them. The world only cares what it can get from you, specifically. So, what it can get from me is this podcast, this one-man show, whatever you want to call it, that is entirely about what it means to be a late diagnosed neurodivergent in 2025 America, and how I navigate this world. And And what I'm capable of is quite a lot. And I'm not asking for accommodations because I need to, because first of all, I feel like I need to make clear what the world can get from me. So, so now there's a lot of discourse out there about the world not being made for neurodivergence, but a lot of it expects the world to change without us really doing anything in return. That is not how the world works. I wish it did. I wish it did. I wish it was kinder, that it would just listen to us, hear us, and change. Maybe not use fluorescent light bulbs in gyms. Maybe at basketball games they hand out um, loop earplugs or something because the sound can get deafening. Uh, that they discounted weighted blankets, or they restructured jobs to say, we're looking for this kind of neurodivergent thinker. Are you this kind of neurodivergent thinker? Now, some companies have done a really great job with that. Microsoft is one of them, which good for them. Good for them. I'm a Luddite, not good with computers. I would never apply to a job at Microsoft, honestly. Also, I'm an Apple user for life, quite honestly, because it works in a way that my brain operates, and that's my choice. Okay, so and while attitudes have changed significantly from the neurotypical population with regard to ADHD, especially since I was a teen in the 1990s, it still isn't there with autism, especially with, everything the president and, smoker cough Kennedy talking shit on the national airwaves that, honestly, I don't know anybody who even believes it, quite honestly. If they do, I have to check their pulse. Um, that doesn't change the fact that the world only cares about what it can get from me. What it can get from me is quite a lot. What it can get from me is somebody who can teach the value of language, the value of reading books to help people connect with others. I swear, I think that's one of the reasons why I have this highly sensitive personality trait, which came with my neurodivergent diagnosis in April 2019, um, is because I'm an avid reader. I read something like between 30 and 40 books a year, and watch a lot of movies and TV shows and read widely and listen to podcasts. And, am I a case for information overload? Oh, yeah, absolutely. But you know who else is? Lewis Carroll, Winston Churchill, Albert Einstein, Temple Grandin, Sylvia Plath, and yes, Elon Musk. That's another issue. I think social media, the internet, that's really not good for us. Neurodivergence, I think it does more harm than good. Does it create connection? Does it gather information? Sure. But Is it accurate? No. I would not consider it a trusted source. And there's a lot of people doing a lot of talking out there. And I'm not going to name names or anything like that, but, because I'm not super into talking shit except for authority figures who are in power and should not be. Um, but rather than public intellectuals who are constantly demanding more, 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 and is really not doing anything in return other than writing blog posts on Medium and and publishing books uh, that really don't help anything. And what that fundamentally means is, I think we need to be clear about what the world can get from us and say, and show and not tell over and over again. So basically, what I'm doing uh, with this monologue. So I hope that helps somebody. And I think what we can do well is be process oriented, because much of uh, uh, the capitalist, the much of the world is focused on outcomes. And the Australian comedian Hannah Gadsby said something really smart. They're autistic, and they said, uh, neurotypicals, when they see somebody talking to them, focuses on who's doing the talking and what they're saying, what they're saying, what they're asking for. Uh, and when neurodivergents like me and Gadsby listen to people, we're focused on who's talking and how and why what they're saying, how what they're saying might impact us and why they're saying what they're saying. In other words, neurotypicals are outcome oriented. Neurodivergents are process focused. How are we going to do this, and why are we doing it this way? That's why, a lot of people talk about, autistic people being really logical and getting into the weeds of things and literal. It's because, let's just cut to the chase. How are we going to do this, and why should we do it this way? Okay. Um, and we need those kinds of thinkers, because you can't just jump from A to Z. You need the rest of the letters of the alphabet in order to make words, to make sense of the world. And that's where neurodivergence come in. And I think that is why the world should care about what it can get from us. Because the world needs those kinds of thinkers. Okay? I hope that helps. And I'll talk to you again real soon.